Hi, Namaste, my name is Henry. Today I would like to talk about the great enlightenment of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, an event that happened in one day in 1895 in a room in the house of his uncle in Madurai. Until that point, Sri Ramana said that he had no real interest in spirituality or discovering the self. But on that day, he had such a tremendous experience of the divine that this experience totally changed his life. A few weeks after this experience, he left his home in Madurai and came to live on the sacred mountain of Arunachala for the rest of his life. As you enter the temple of the Mother Alamagal, you first enter in the hall where the great seat of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi is situated. He used that seat in 1949 to give darshan to the visitors. Now the next thing you see on the left of the entrance is a great picture of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. And on the right of the entrance, there is a description of the death experience of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today, I would like to read this experience that he himself described what happened to him when he was 60 years old. It was about 6 weeks before I left Madurai for good that the great change in my life took place. It was quite sudden. I was sitting alone in a room on the first floor of my uncle's house. I seldom had any sickness, and on that day there was nothing wrong with my health. But a sudden violent fear of death overtook me. There was nothing in my state of health to account for it, and I did not try to account for it or find out whether there was any reason for the fear. I just felt I am going to die. And I began thinking what to do about it. It did not occur to me to consult a doctor or my elders or friends. I felt that I had to solve the problem myself there and then. The shock of the fear of death drove my mind inward, and I said to myself mentally, without actually framing the words, now death has come. What does it mean? What is it that is dying? This body dies, and I at once dramatized the stretched out stiff as through rigor mortis had set in, and imitated a corpse so that as to give greater reality to the inquiry. I held my breath and kept my lips tightly closed so that no sound could escape, so that neither the word I nor any other word could be uttered. Well then, I said to myself, this body is dead. It will be carried stiff to the burning ground, and there burnt and reduced to ashes. But with death of this body, am I dead? Is the body I? It is silent and inert, but I feel the full force of my personality and even the voice of the I within me, apart from it. So I am the spirit transcending the body. That means I am the deathless spirit. All this was not dull thoughts. It flashed through me vividly as living truth, which I perceived directly, almost without thought process. I was something very real. The only real thing about my present state and all the conscious activities when my body was centered on that I. From that moment onward, the I, or self, focused attention on itself by a powerful fascination. Fear of death had vanished once and for all. Absorption in the self continued unbroken from that time on. Other thoughts might come and go like various notes of music, but the I continued like the fundamental Shruti note that underlies and blends with all the other notes. Whether the body was engaged in talking, reading, or anything else, I was still centered on the I. Previous to that crisis, I had no clear perception of myself and was not consciously attracted to it. I felt no perceptible or direct interest in it, much less any inclination to dwell permanently in it.